Hello and welcome back. Today we are recapping episode 6 of the Dicely campaign. If you aren't caught up on the episode yet and you would like to be, the links are in my bio. But if you're just here for the recap, that's cool too. Let's get started. So at the end of episode 5, we found ourselves at a railroad construction site. We were just minding our own business exploring the construction site when all of a sudden a group of bandits attacked the camp. And so we jumped in to help. We had a big battle, we fought them all off, Abe ripped a man in half, it was all good. This episode starts with Abe still catatonic on the ground in the pool of blood he has created, and the party, not really knowing what to do at this point, kind of starts to investigate the bodies that are around us. We come across one of them that seems to be the leader, and we find a note on his body. The note is basically instructions for this man to go gather a group of cannibals and come attack this railroad construction site. It says to make sure that at least someone stays alive to be able to talk about the attack, and if this guy survives the fight, to come back to Balesville afterwards. So that's not great, but we did manage to keep 2 of the bandits alive during the fight, so we can now question them. So we do. We tie them up and we start talking to them, trying to understand why they were involved in this fight at all, who they are, what they're doing here. And one of the first things they tell us is that when they arrived at the battlefield, they felt an immediate attraction to Abe. And they didn't really know how to explain it other than they just felt drawn to him. This is probably bad. I think I made my feelings fairly clear in this episode that I don't trust Abe anymore. Well, not Abe, but like whatever else is inside of his body. So anyways, we continue to talk to the cannibals. They tell us that their group doesn't really have a name, but that they worship a god named Maldon. And as we're talking to them, when the name Maldon is mentioned, Abe's eyes flicker and he repeats the word Maldon out loud. This is also very bad. They tell us that Maldon is a god of great martial adept. He's a great fighter. Members of their clan strive to be worthy in his eyes. We continue to talk to them, and they tell us that there is a symbol in their community, but it's so sacred and secret that even they don't know what it is. It's something that only their leader, Maldon, and the beast, Maldon's chosen, know the symbol. And again, when they say the words, the beast, Abe kind of rouses from his sleep and repeats the words, the beast, back to us. It's really bad. Am I crazy? It's really bad that this is happening. I don't really feel like the other cast members are reacting to this the way I am, but this feels really bad to me. This feels like such an absolute problem that I don't know how we're going to solve. Anyways, the beast determines who is worthy. We continue to talk to the captives. They tell us that they don't know what the beast looks like because he continues to inhabit many bodies. It's really not looking good for us. And it's very clear that Abe either has the beast or Maldon or both of them inside of him. And this again seems like a problem to me because I don't know anything about these gods other than cannibals worship him. So, like, not great, right? Right? I'm not crazy. And it kind of just keeps getting worse from here because the 2 captives say that they know that they're not worthy. Now that they failed in battle, they're not worthy to Maldon. And Abe's body at least, kind of sits up and looks at them and he says, "Not worthy yet. You are not worthy yet." Like, damn, this is such a problem. We start to realize that the reason Abe was so angry at the end of our fight last time is because Nell killed a person that he had marked as worthy. And when Nell killed this man instead of Abe, it gave Ah, the god of death, the chance to harvest this soul before Abe could get there. Which is cool, and not a problem at all. The captives tell us that we need to go see their leader in the mountains nearby, or that their leader needs to see Abe. And we spend a lot of time here debating what the next move for the party is. We could go to the mountains and try to figure out more about Abe and the beast and Maldon, which I think we're going to have to do eventually, but I think the party worries that we have very different priorities than they do. We want to save Abe, where I think these cannibals would want to save the beast or Maldon or whoever. The other lead we can pursue here is that the note we found on the leader told him to report back to Balesville after this attack. So whoever orchestrated this whole thing is in Balesville, and we still don't really know why they wanted to come attack this railroad. The party decides to go to Balesville first. It feels a little bit more pressing. We don't know what else this terrorist group might be up to. And I'm wondering also if we might be able to find out more about this cannibal clan before we just go wander our way into their mountain. So the party takes off to Balesville. Elwyn obviously doesn't trust Abe anymore, but it's kind of sad to see the rest of the party also start to turn on him. Gideon also seems to be really shaken by what he's seen and what we've learned about Abe. And Gideon was Abe's only friend at the beginning of this, so it's hard to see that bond kind of be strained. Nell is like 1,000% on Team Abe though, so at least he's got her. So the party takes off towards Balesville, and we see again the kind of toll that moving towards Balesville has on Gideon. Gideon is from Balesville and has a lot of past trauma associated with this town. So we can see that it's really hard for him as we get closer. And when we get there, Balesville seems like a perfectly nice town. You know, townsfolk wave to us as we come in. Seems generally positive and bustling. The first kind of red flag we notice is a burned down building as we're entering. Gideon knows that this is DNR Solutions, which is a merchant group he's been working with. It seems like this building has been intentionally burned down recently. We start to understand that Balesville is not a fan of the Ascendancy, which is the overarching ruling group of this province, at least. We've known about before and are starting to see here now as well that Balesville looks like they want to break free from the Ascendancy and be their own governed state. We find a flyer that kind of confirms this idea at the pub that we go to. Even though it's late at night, we know Gideon doesn't want to be in this town any longer than he needs to be, so rather than taking a rest and starting in the morning, we decide that we should set out right now and just try to figure out what we can figure out from this town and get out of here as quickly as we can. So we take this flyer outside and we kind of start to follow the trail and try to figure out where these people are meeting. And the trail leads us out of the town and through a forest. We move not too far into the forest and we come across an old house. Gideon knows that an old couple used to live there, but now the lights are all on and we can see kind of silhouettes moving in the windowsill. Azaria offers to be the one to kind of sneak over and see if we can find anything out. They can kind of pick up some conversation, but they decide that it's safe enough to just knock on the door and try to go in. Azaria tells the man who answers the door that they just want to learn more about this. They agree that we should separate from the Ascendancy, and they want to hear more about it. And they're invited inside. Denny reveals to us the name of the man who's running this session in here, and it means nothing to half of the party. I'm sure Denny has mentioned this, but it hasn't come up a whole lot. But this entire campaign is a sequel to a campaign that he ran previously. Ryan, Logan, and Adam all played in that previous campaign, so the three of them get all these like fun little tidbits of recurring characters and things like that. But Christy, Anthony, and I were not part of that previous campaign. So the man who's running this meeting is a character from the previous campaign, but I don't know who he is. And Elwyn isn't from here, so I think this whole kind of story arc is interesting from Elwyn's perspective because I don't think she cares really so much if Balesville is part of the Ascendancy or not. Like this really isn't her home. She mostly just follows Rhea's advice on this, so if Rhea thinks the Ascendancy is good, then Elwyn's on board with the Ascendancy, but it doesn't really change her life. Anyways, I'm excited to see where this goes next. This feels like it's going to be important since it's a recurring NPC showing back up again. If you want to get caught up with the Dicely campaign, the links, as I've said, are up in my bio. All of my recaps are also here on Instagram. If you don't have time to watch all the episodes, you can just skim the recaps and you'll get the basic gist of what's going on. Make sure you follow us on Twitch at DicelyD&D so that you get notified when we go live. We're live every other Saturday to play Dicely, but in the last couple of weeks we've snuck in a couple cheeky little Sea of Thieves streams as well. You can also follow me here on Instagram, or you can follow me on Twitter at Dallisor. Links, again, in my bio. That's all for this time though, folks. I hope you guys are all doing well. Stay happy, stay healthy, and remember to always play Dicely. Bye!